Hey, I'm Reggie Ponder, the Real Critic, and this is the Real Critic Roundtable, where African-American critics come to discuss, debate, and have a little fun. And listen, this is the fun time of the year because we got all the awards happening. A little later, we're going to talk about the Critics Choice Awards. So it is really a lot of fun because we're members of the Critics Choice. Unlike that other agency that doesn't have Black people. Yeah, oh, okay, man, my bad. As usual, I'm joined by my friend Katya Woods, cupofsoulshow.com. Hey, Katya, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be here. It's been a busy week, and it's going to be a busy weekend.
So it's been busy. What you been working on?
I did some junkets, dropped a couple interviews, dropped some reviews, but mainly, prepping for Sunday for Critics' Choice, and to cover that, and hopefully we won't have any controversial wins. I hope Jared Leto, God bless him, but this is not his year. But he keeps creeping up.
All right, well, we'll get into that in a minute. And then, of course, is my other friend, Sean Edwards from Fox 4 Kansas City. Sean, hey, welcome, man. What you been working on, dude?
Man, just working on producing the Critics Choice Awards show, which is Sunday, March 7th on the CW. But this Friday's fun. I like when we get to talk about movies that the multitude of people are interested in. I mean, that's why we're in the business. We do this so people can watch. It's not like this is not a private conversation.
That's for real.
We want a lot of people to watch. And I can't recall. It's been a while since there's been a movie release where so many people hit me so many different ways to find out if I've seen it, to find out about it, what's going on with it. I mean, it's been a long time since people have come at me at all different directions about a film, and Coming to America is it. So it's fun when real people care about movies.
Well,
let's get in it.
I'm about to say you bringing it to it. Let's talk about it. Tell us what this one is about. Now, before you do this, let me just tell you. Let me just tell you this, man. I was concerned. So
I was too.
I had two things working here for me. On the one hand, I'm concerned that you're going to take this iconic movie and you're going to try to do it again. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, man, they got everybody coming back. So talk to us, man. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, yeah, this is one of those reviews where you have to set it up. I mean, it's one of the few times I think you're allowed to jump in from a personal perspective. And I will say, arguably, and let's just start here, arguably, the original Coming to America is one of the funniest movies ever made. You also cannot deny the fact that it has had a timeless quality that very few movies have ever achieved. And not just with a certain demographic slice. I mean, this one's had a universal appeal for a very long time. I also remember the very first time I saw this movie in the movie theaters. There are not a lot of movies I remember that. I remember the day, what the weather was like, who I went with. There's very few movie experiences like that. So, yeah, when I first heard, because, they've been trying to do this sequel actually for a really long time. I actually know a couple of screenwriters who actually wrote the sequel years ago that didn't get used. I mean, there have been several teams of writers that have been hired to create the Coming to America sequel. And I've always had that same dread and fear that you possess, that why are they doing that? With that said, it's done now. And you can watch it now on Amazon Prime. And I know a lot of people are. And man, it just reminded me of a failed greatest hits project.
Really?
It's been 33 years, and they did get a lot of I think almost everyone who's still alive that was a part of the first film is a part of the second film. And I have no problem with that. The actual weakest part of the film was the addition of the new characters in the new cast. It felt like they really struggled to freshen it up. And I also thought that why do a sequel if you have to rely so heavily on using clips from the first movie in the new movie? It was like they were constantly reminding us this movie's a classic. this movie was funny. This is the movie you love. No, create something so I fall in love. You know,
Oh,
it,
oh,
it was
wow, wow.
the movie felt like a former beauty queen going to get plastic surgery, but instead of enhancing her parts, they just use her old parts and put them in different places.
Wow.
That's what
Katya,
it felt like.
Katya, thoughts?
Um, it just felt dated, you know. I agree with Sean that everybody did come back except Madge Sinclair. Madge Sinclair died of cancer in 1995, so obviously she can't be there. Uh, the new people added nothing to it. It was like it's very forced, you know. I also felt like it was very Princess Diary already did this trope where you can't be, you know, you can't ascend to the throne if you're a girl. You know what I mean? We had that dialogue done, but having said that, that plot twist, even that plot twist being old, you would think this is where I'm going to get on Kenya a bit. You have a whole show where you center Black fatherhood, and you didn't bring anything of any of that into this film. You have no moments between the two, Eddie Murphy and Jerome. I believe it's Jerome Fowler's his name. Between the two, that make you say they're a father and son or bonding. Also, you have the first movie, which was all about Akeem not following the rules and creating his own voice. And in this film, you have him being very stereotypical, which again, what we loved about Akeem was that he was like, you know what, I want to rule on my own terms. I want to do things my own way. And then with this, we get this very stoic guy, you know. But having said that, to me, again, the highlight is Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is interesting enough to watch, but unfortunately, not even his talents can save this film.
Wow, wow. So you guys, it's really interesting. Maybe because I came to it with such trepidation that I liked it better than I thought that I would like this film. I I I really understand where you're coming from, Sean, when you talk about using the old clips. But I actually thought that the new people actually did freshen it up a bit. I know the story is the same, but I thought they freshened it up a bit because I really didn't think that Eddie and Arsenio would be the two that could really uh, hold that up 33 years later, so that you gave it some freshness. So that worked for me. The thing about Katya that you talk about and is for me the I agree with you about this whole thing about fatherhood, but I love this thing about the women empowerment is that where the women came and did what they did, right? Because you don't want to give that away, but I like this thing. So there were a lot of elements for me. They did three things for me in this that I ended up liking. I started off saying to myself, okay, you came into this really clunky. They came into it very clunky and awkward as to how they were going to make this thing work. But then I just said, stop it, Reggie. Stop trying to look at this as the other movie and just
You
suspend
can't.
belief.
Yeah, you have to do that.
Just stop it. Just stop it. And that's what I was doing. I was looking at it as the other movie, and I said, stop it. And I tried to watch it for its own merits, and it worked for me. I actually did laugh, and there's three things they did real quick. One is I think that they paid reverence to the original characters and then didn't take those characters too seriously. Two, I think that they didn't rely on Murphy and Hall to carry this movie all by themselves. And then three, I think that the messages, the inner how they interwove African American culture along with African culture, I thought that it worked today.
But
Maybe it felt dated, but that's how I came out on that.
but the biggest misstep in the entire movie is, okay, if you remember, this is a sequel. So if you remember how the first movie ended, they wasted a fantastic opportunity to address Lisa, played by Sherry Hadley's adjustment to living in Zamunda. She's criminally ignored in this movie. She only had one memorable scene, and she comes alive. I don't want to give anything away, but she comes alive in that one scene, but that's basically all she got. Remember, the original movie ends with them getting married. She left America to move. What was her adjustment like? How did, what were the, we really never addressed what was going on the previous 33 years? You know, what's their relationship like? Why didn't we not focus more on Prince Akeem and Lisa's relationship and what has happened in the past 3 decades? She's wasted. She
Yeah.
got she got no screen time.
It wouldn't have bothered me as much. I mean, I can understand to a certain extent why she wasn't utilized. She's not that draw. Like her star power has dimmed a little bit, but you could have done it in a smart way where she could have been the bridge to helping this young man understand, because she too came from the outside. You didn't have to do a big trope, but you could have had a scene where they had a conversation about it. You know what I mean? But again, I agree with Sean. Like, I wanted to know more about life in Samunda. You know what I mean? Like, there, it's crazy. I feel like you got the woman from Ruth Carter to do the costumes, but you didn't learn that part about Black
What
Panther
kind?
is to utilize and show us, you even put a line in there, Wakanda's fake, Zamunda's real, but we learned nothing about Zamunda. We learned nothing about what is, day to day. We didn't get to see him as a prince doing princely things, you know what I mean? And again, I fault the writers for that, you know what I mean? Because they didn't flush out these characters, they didn't develop the character. The women were very stereotypical, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't say, some people said anti-Black. I don't think this is anti-Black. I just think, again, it's stated. It's like they wanted it to be, they didn't take it to 2020, or this was from the 2019. And again, as funny as Arsenio and Eddie are, and they have that chemistry, it goes when these other people are in and they are not on that same energy level. Do you know what I mean? So you can't, like, Eddie Murphy is out of this world and he thinks on the top of his head. And no disrespect to Leslie and Tracy, but they're not dancing with him in the same league. You know what I mean? So you
I buy that. So, Sean, I have to ask you before is this a watch it?
No, it's a 100. Come on, look, the movie's more nostalgic than it is funny. It just was not that funny, but it was. I like watching it from a nostalgic point of view. I actually loved it. No, I like the movie. I'm favorable with the movie. I'm just critiquing it and how it could have been much better and better executed. But no, it was nostalgic. I was in my feels watching. I mean, I watched it twice. It's no, it's a very watchable movie. I just wish Eddie would break down and go ahead and just do a full length barbershop movie. I mean, those were the stuff in the when it comes to, and you can tell what Kenyon Barris wrote, and you could tell what Eddie Murphy wrote. Like, I can just tell. Kenyon didn't have nothing to do with any of those barbershop scenes. That's all Eddie Murphy. And there's a different every time he walked into the barbershop, I lit up because it's the funny the exchange of ideas, the interacting, the verbal jousting. Let's just have a full barbershop movie. That would be hilarious.
And so my problem with the barbershop scenes is that they weren't flushed out because I wanted more of that. I did want more of that. I don't think
Well, they weren't fleshed out in the original movie though.
Right. But I think that they had more time in those scenes. I think for me, Sean, what I think they did here is that they tried to cram so many things in with so many different people, and so that these neglecting things that you guys are talking about is because you had too many surprises, you had too many people trying to play roles in this film. For me, though, I'm glad. I'm surprised based on your criticism, but yeah. I watched it twice too, and I would watch it again. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it. Maybe not as maybe a little bit more funnier than me than you. Katia, thoughts? Watch it? Not.
Eddie Murphy is always worth watching. That alone is worth the price of admission. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I think he is the most talented, underrated person out there. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people say Jamie Foxx, but I'm like, there would be no Jamie Foxx if it wasn't for Eddie Murphy. He did that whole singing, all that stuff that Jamie is doing and did. He showed that, there's a pathway for that. And I would like us to stop putting Eddie in recycled things. He is talented enough to put him in new and fresh things. He deserves a writing team that knows how to write for him. We got it in Dolomite. We didn't get it here. So I think, he's still young enough to give us different looks. I know one of the things he wants to do is do a cowboy movie, you know what I mean? And I think that would be hell way more interesting. But watch it for Eddie, watch it, like Sean said, for the nostalgia, and just understand this is a whole different thing. You're not going to get what you got with the first one. Separate the two.
All right,
Yeah.
Sean, you chomping at the bit to make one more comment. Go ahead.
I just want to say Wesley Snipes gave it the college try.
Okay, all right.
And you know
I
what?
like Wesley.
I got to give Eddie props for this. This business did Wesley really dirty.
Really wrong.
He didn't pay his taxes. He didn't kill nobody. He didn't assault nobody. And nobody wanted to really give him the type of roles and the money. Eddie Murphy stepped up and said, I'm going to make these two movies with my man Wesley.
Yep.
And that speaks volumes also to Eddie's character. Because a lot of these other clowns, like Sean says, oh, we in this together. We all about Black empowerment. And when it comes time to show and prove for us to take care of our people, then they're like, well, I tried. I can't. I'll get you in the next one. Eddie made two movies, gave Wesley a real part, and made sure also that he got paid.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. All right, hey, all right, it's a watch it from all of us. For different reasons, but it's a watch it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move. let's move on. I am going to jump into a movie called Boogie, and my friend Kantia said, Reggie, watch this movie Boogie, and I said, all right, I'll check it out. So what is this one about? It's not a new story, but it is a new look at a similar story. It's about a Chinese young man in high school who,
Taiwanese.
He's Taiwanese, okay, but he speaks Chinese.
Yes, because they have.
My bad. Thank you so much. Taiwanese young man in high school who is pretty good at basketball. He transfers to this one school, and the whole thing for transferring to that school is to beat this certain team and to beat this certain player. This film shows the Asian culture. From the food to the neighborhoods to some of the customs. It shows two parents who are fighting against each other, and they are really fighting against each other, but they both are pinning their hopes on this young man. Sounds familiar? It is. It is a very familiar story. So the proof is, how do they tell this story that's typically told from an African-American perspective? Do they make this story different? Does it rise to the challenge? And for me, it doesn't. They're like right there on the precipice of actually doing something here, because from a cultural standpoint, I like what they did there. I like that they show that there are other people who look at basketball as a way out, as in the same way, but the basketball wasn't authentic. They did have Pop Smoke playing the guy, but it wasn't authentic. They kept showing shots instead of scenes, and they cut too much to different things, going backwards and forward. It just didn't work well for me enough for me to say that this is a must see. But Sean, you didn't see it, but one of the things that you talk about is good try. I think they tried. They actually tried, and I can see that they tried here, but it just didn't. It had heart, but it didn't have soul. And what I mean by that is that it didn't have that musicality, that energy that you get when you watch a movie and you be like, yeah, that's it. So I didn't love this one. Katya.
I think the step was in the right direction. You did get a guy that plays basketball and you had him act. Because there's nothing worse when you try to get an actor, they don't play ball, and you're like, somebody else stepped in, right? There's a lot of things. I was very curious about this because, number one, we're finally getting a different interracial look. Normally it's black and white. And I'm like, there's all different types of interracial. You have interracial and you have intercultural, right? And I did like that. Now let's talk about the team. Eddie Huang is the person who wrote this. and directed this. Eddie Huang is the guy behind Fresh Off the Boat. That's based on his family. He grew up a kid obsessed with hip hop, but he is a business owner. He's also a chef. So you have all of those things, and that's why the food probably was such a main thing. The issue that I have with this is I say this all the time. You have this great idea, you get the funding, go sit in that producer's chair and let someone else who has the skill set write the script and direct, because then we would have had all the things that you and I probably are missing from this film. I felt Taylor was very unused. There was no natural chemistry between the two of them as two minorities being in this school, being in this class. You know what I mean? I didn't buy Pop Smoke, rest in peace, as a basketball player, you know? And I also felt as though we got a different look at an Asian family. They're not perfect. They're not wanting their son to be an engineer. And I also thought it was very interesting because horoscope and that type of thing plays a huge part
in
in
their
Asian
culture.
culture, and how, you know, the woman predicted, I don't want to give away, but she was like predicting like, this relationship's gonna go a little tough, you know. And also here's the other thing is we always have this idea about first generation Asians, again, wanting to be engineers, wanting to be that, especially in New York. If you grow up in the boroughs and you are surrounded by hip hop, you are surrounded by basketball and all of that, that it seeps into your DNA. And how do you balance holding on to your culture, but at the same time, you're like, yes, I'm Taiwanese, I'm this, etc., but I'm also American, and this is very okay. You know, how do you navigate the two worlds? And I thought that was very clunky. I feel like you. I feel like he was right there, but I just feel like had he had someone else do the script, flush out his ideas, another director to do, like, you know, as you said, to get the sports a little tighter, then we would have had something. The kid is not a bad actor, and we
Oh
know that
no,
Taylor can act, but it just didn't come all the way together.
it didn't come all the way together. I will say this is that uh, Sean, one of the phrases you talk about is respect the demo. This actually might work for the demo though. Is that this one actually might work for the demo? I didn't love it because I wanted something more. I mean, and I really thought they were close. And you might be right, Katya, in terms of having somebody direct it, maybe have somebody different to do that. So to me, I'm saying the demo, you might want to watch it. I thought the Pop Smoke did show some promise, but I understand what you mean from a basketball perspective. But I think that's because they didn't show us the ball. They didn't show us people really balling. They just showed shots going in the bucket. Well, that's it for that one.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. I will say this. I think here you also have, we didn't talk about that, but I'll talk about it real quick. Pop Smoke has deceased, and the way he died was awful. So his fan base are going to want to see this because this is another piece to get them close to it. I definitely think young people are going to look at this and they're not going to see the quote unquote flaws that we do. They're going to enjoy it for what it does. So don't be surprised if this bad boy, you know, makes a lot of money this weekend, and you'll be like, where did this come from?
That's right. This may do well. I just wanted more from it, and that's it for that. Hey, let's move into our third movie for the day. And Katya, you got that one. This is Raya and the Last Dragon.
I really like this film. I love when a young girl gets to be a heroine, and this is basically about all these different tribes that are feuding, you know, and their feud cost the world to go bad, the environment and everything. And I don't want to give it away because it's really like all tied to that. But the beauty of this film is that this young girl takes this task upon her shoulders and has kind of gotten very jaded about the world, you know what I mean? And her relationship with Aquafina, who plays the dragon, who's very, you know, pro people, very hippie and believes in mankind, you know. And I thought she was really cute. And I thought how they drew, you could tell that they took her characteristics into the dragon. Is trying to show her like, yes, bad things can happen, but you still got to have faith in humanity. And I thought this was really, really well made. It's been a great year for young Asian girls to have advocacy, to see themselves. And I'm just saying, little girls are going to eat this up.
I think the Asian community, and I actually think everybody, because I think it's so universal. But they had a great Asian cast for this, and so I liked it as well. But I want to get Sean in here first. Sean, what you think about this one, man?
No, I liked it on all levels. I mean, first off, it's an animated feature. So the first thing we'll start with is the animation. This is beautiful. I mean, it's well done, well crafted. You can tell they put the time in the research. I mean, I love the way this world was created. It's just, and it was fresh. It sort of looks like other things, but it really doesn't. And that's not really easy to accomplish. The second thing is you have to bring the characters to life. I thought the voice talent choices were tremendous. I thought they worked well. Once again, kudos to the research, kudos to the casting, which is very important. I thought the story was tremendous. I like how Disney, they create these movies through their corporate lens, so they're not as 100% culturally accurate as you would like it to be, but it's very close. And a couple of times it's skirted toward that princess trope that we're all familiar with in a lot of Disney films, but it cleverly and thankfully avoids falling into the full trap of it. So I'm glad they avoided that pitfall, and it's a wonderful movie that you can watch with your entire family. I mean, it's great to see stories like this. It's a great job of storytelling.
And so for me, thank you both of you guys for this. For me, the watching animated films twice, that means it has to be good for me. And this was one that I would watch again. I'm ready to watch it with my family, because I think you guys touched on a lot of things. The voice talent in this was really good.
Really good, really good.
Aquafina crushed it as the dragon. I mean, she absolutely crushed it. She had me laughing. I mean, just all the way through. And the messages in this story, the messages about faith,
Strong.
They are strong. A belief in people, unity, whether you're going to trust somebody or not. I was like, they did a really good job. And then the next thing that both of you guys talked about, this looks good. I saw it on a small screen, meaning a big screen in my house, but I would love to see this movie on a big screen, because it looked absolutely beautiful. This is a definite watch it for me. Katya.
Absolutely. It's worth, how everybody's griping about that $34.99. It's worth it. Pay it. Your kids are gonna be happy. And trust me, it is definitely worth it.
Sean.
No, it's a definite watch. It's a beautiful work of art. I mean, it's good. It's good stuff. Disney's, it's right in the Disney sweet spot. They know what they're doing. Great job.
They do.
Great job.
But you brought up a couple points. Even though they know what they're doing, sometimes this formulaic stuff gets kind of old. You like, I see what's gonna happen.
It can trip you up. It can, if a lesser film, it trips it up. But this isn't a lesser film, so it doesn't get tripped up on that.
This isn't. I didn't look at the animators. Who are the animators? But whoever animated this one,
good job.
Really, really good job. All right, that's it. We're gonna move into our next segment, which is our really quick round, and this is where we really gonna get to celebrate CCA, because we got a lot of categories to get through, but we're gonna get through some of them. We're gonna talk about who we think are gonna win this weekend and who we would like to win. And we're gonna start off with you, Katya, on Best Picture. We got 15 different movies that we got up. Who did that, Sean?
Well, hold on, but first you got to set it up properly.
All right, you do it for me. Go ahead. That's right. Let me let you do that.
So, first of all, the Critics Choice Association, unlike the Academy Awards, unlike the Golden Globe Awards, are actually voted on by working film critics. Film critics don't, people get this confused all the time. And trust me, they're not following the industry like us, so I don't expect them to understand. But actual film critics do not vote for the Oscars. Actual film critics do not vote for the Golden Globes. Actual film critics do not vote for the Screen Actors Guild Awards. So the Critics' Choice Awards is different in that fact that actual film critics vote on it. Also, it's a pretty expansive body of 400 plus people that represent as far away as Los Angeles, all the way over to New York. So you get a great cross section of how real people actually watch movies, because some of these critics live in Oklahoma, Louisiana, Ohio, Minnesota. It's not just a group of people basically all clumped together in LA or all clumped together in New York. That makes a big difference on how things play out. So I just had to set that stage so we have a better understanding of,
No, no,
why
no.
we're
You know
making these
what?
predictions.
You really did that, and that was good, man. I really appreciate that. Let's talk about the best picture. We got a number of movies. We got The Five Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank,
Too
Minari,
many.
News of the World, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of Chicago 7. Katya, I'm going with you first, and let's talk about that.
I think it's going to be Trial of the Chicago 7. It's not what my pick is, but I do think that a lot of people like that movie.
All right, so who should win?
I would say One Night in Miami, because it has more of that for everyone pulled in. Do you know what I mean? I love No Man Land, but it's a very specific view. You either love it or hate it, and it's the same thing with Mank. You either love that movie or you hate it.
All right, Sean, who's going to win and who should win?
It's the Critics Choice Awards. Just so we can have some fun. I'm going with the upset, Promising Young Woman. I think it's got a shot, just because percentage wise, there are a number. I know the breakdown of the membership. There are quite a few women in the organization, so it could pull the upset. What should win? It's Critics' Choice. What should win is a toss up between Trial of Chicago 7 and Nomadland.
All right, so our time is up on this one, so I'm just going to jump in real quick. I think that Trial of Chicago 7 should win. Will win, and Nomadland should win. Moving to Best Actor, we got Ben Affleck, Riz Ahmed, Chadwick Boseman, Tom Hanks, Anthony Hopkins, Delroy Lindo, Gary Oldman, and Stephen Yin. And Sean, who should win on this, man?
This is too easy. Chadwick Boseman should win. Chadwick Boseman will win. This is the only lock of the whole award season this year. It's the only lock.
You can't vote against the dead man. That's a hard one to come back from.
I didn't even need to put on the clock for that. Put us on the clock for that one, because we know that's right. What you say, Katya?
Knows that they're not winning, sadly.
All right. So then for Best Actress, we got Viola Davis, Andra Day, Sydney Flanagan, Vanessa Kirby, Frances McDormand, Carey Mulligan, and Zendaya. Katya.
I think it's between Andra and Carey Mulligan. And I have spoken to some of my fellow CCA members that are on Team Andra with me. So it would depend, like Sean said, how Promising Young Woman's night is going. If you see a lot of wins for that film, then I think Carey will take it. But it's between the two. I can't pick the one.
Okay, I think Carey Mulligan will win. I think Andra Day should win. Sean.
Well, you already know how I feel about this. Andra Day should win everything, but it's 400 people voting, and not a lot of them look like us. So I'm going Carey Mulligan is going to win, but of course Andra Day should win it's flat out. Her performance is better than the other 5 put together.
All right, moving on. We're gonna go to Best Supporting Actor. We got Chadwick. We have Sacha Baron Cohen, Daniel Kaluuya, Bill Murray, Leslie Odom, and Paul Raci.
I think it would be Daniel Kaluuya. I think he has emerged as the front runner. I don't know. Paul is a really nice guy, but I think Chadwick will get the Best Actor, so he canceled himself out in this, but I do think it will be Daniel.
Wow, I think it's going to be an upset. I think we actually going to get Sacha to win in that one. I think that's what I think. I think it's going to be an upset. Sean.
Yeah, wow. I'm right there with you. Yes, because it's the Critics' Choice voting. I'm going Sacha for the win, but it actually, for my money, it should be Leslie Odom Jr.
I think the campaign got a little derailed. The campaign
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true.
And
But I'm just saying who it should
the
be.
issue
Yeah.
with it's not the performance, is the campaign was not specific enough. We did not see enough Q&As with him. We saw it with the cast, we saw it with Regina. Sasha's had a lot of Q&As with him.
Yeah, they've done a lot. They've done a lot on the campaign, but we got to keep it moving. So supporting actress, we have Maria Bakalova, Ellen Burstyn, Glenn Close,
Right the face at the same time.
Olivia Colman, Amanda Seyfried, and I don't even want to mess up her name. Yu Jong Young.
That's who should win. That's who should win. But I can see this girl. Oh God, I can see this girl.
Who can you see winning this one?
I can see her upsetting this category. I
Who?
don't know why.
Who?
Maria
Which girl?
Borat.
Maria Bakalova?
No,
Yeah.
no. I mean, maybe.
Why
It's
not?
I don't see it. I don't see it. What you got, Sean?
nah, it's the Critics' Choice. Glenn Close all day, every day is going to win.
See, I believe Glenn Close is
Critics'
going
Choice.
to win that without
If
a
you know
doubt.
the track record of the Critics' Choice wins, then it's Glenn Close.
Oh,
But
this
the person
movie.
who should win is the woman from Minari. But I mean, she don't got a chance with Critics' Choice.
I don't think she has a chance, and she should win. She was fantastic. All right, cool. Moving on to the next one. Best comedy. We got Borat, subsequent movie film, the 40-year-old version, The King of Staten Island, On the Rocks, Palm Springs, and The Prom. I'm going first. Is that I know for a fact that Borat's subsequent movie film will win, but you know who I want to win this one. And there's no doubt about it that I'm going with the 40-year-old version.
I'm right.
But did you say the 40-year-old version is going to win?
No. That I would like to win.
Oh, yeah, of course.
There's no doubt who's winning.
Yeah.
Borat's subsequent movie film is winning.
But here's a more interesting angle on
I
this
think
take.
Palm Spring is going to win.
Now, Borat's winning. But here's the more interesting thing I would love to find out. I don't know how you could ever do it. I would love to know how many of the 400 plus members have actually seen the 40-year-old version. I say over and under 20%.
You know what? I think you're so right, probably about that. I'd love to know that. Katya, go ahead. You said Palm Springs.
We can't win if it ain't been watched.
I think Palm Springs is going to win. It was not my jam, but a lot of people liked that movie. They really, really liked it. You know what I mean? They were kind of upset that it's not doing better in this awards race, but I'm like,
All right. Well, moving on, we got the best foreign language film. We don't even have to talk about who.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
We don't even have to talk about who the nominees are, because that's why they're not going to win all these other awards. It's Minari's winning that.
Yeah. That's the second lock behind Chadwick Boseman in Best Actor.
Yeah.
I think the other lock, though, is going to the next category for Best Young Actress. I actually think that Alan Kim is going to win for Minari for that.
I do too, because the kid is cute and he's good in the movie.
I think. What thought?
No, what's that? That little girl's been working it from News of the World, and Universal's been pushing. I don't know. I don't know.
It's
the
hard.
kid one. The kid one's a toss
He's
up.
awfully cute, Sean.
They all are, but I mean,
I saying that she isn't, but he got the cheeks working for him.
So we got three more to get through here. And let's see, best ensemble cast. I really liked this category. I love that we have this category, by the way, Sean.
Every show should have this category, actually.
I love this category. And so in this category, we have The Five Bloods, Judas and the Black Messiah, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Minari, One Night in Miami, and The Trial of the Chicago Seven. And I'm giving us 2 minutes to talk about this one. Go ahead, Katya.
Really, Sean? What the heck?
Wait a minute, the white movie plus one black actor.
Now goes this way. I'm gonna go. I think Trial of the Chicago 7 when I think it should be Ma Rainey. That movie is the epitome of, like, between the dialogue. It doesn't. If all the players don't play their part, it falls flat. You could say the same thing, but I'm with Sean. We're all gonna have to put on our nice smiles and be.
I didn't even put on the timer for that one because I think, like you guys, the Trial of Chicago 7 will win. That if it doesn't, I mean, really, I'm probably going to fall out of my chair. But I believe that Ma Rainey, I mean, top to bottom, should win this one. I mean, it was the each of those actors in this film were phenomenal, and we've talked about the cast of the Five Bloods. I think they did a really good job from an ensemble perspective, but I don't think anything touches Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Well, Ma Rainey, the cast of Ma Rainey had a cheat code though. It was written by August Wilson. I mean, damn, like that's a hell of a. That's like running a 100-meter race and they got to start 15 yards ahead. Like, but no, it is top to bottom the best ensemble. I mean, but I did like the Five Bloods, but I like the ensemble, of One Night in Miami. But the ensemble Minari, does that work?
Yeah.
They're not all on point. This is a really competitive category, but
Do you think
Katya.
people are going to go and they're going to go with what comes to the forefront? And I don't think it's a category when people are voting or were voting that they thought about it like we're thinking about it. Do you know what I mean?
I really thought about this category because Sean, you just went through each one of them. They were all good ensemble casts. For me, Judas and the Black Messiah doesn't make the cut. That's the only one that didn't make the cut for me. But I mean, I thought they were good, but I'm talking about as when you talk about an ensemble cast, the other ones really rose to the top, and I was like,
Well, Judas and the Black Messiah, out of all of the nominees, the actors didn't have the interlocking like the other movies. I mean, that's what makes Ma Rainey just. It's exceptional because of the way it's written and the interlocking. I mean, same thing with One Night in Miami. It just, same thing with Minari. Like Minari doesn't. Like if one of those actors is weak in Minari, you blow the whole thing. Like so, just split the trophy into 6 pieces.
Okay, do you think we may have a tie in a couple of these categories?
Oh, could we, Sean?
Could we what?
Could we have a tie? I'm new to the.
No, they're sadly. I personally hate ties. There were like 2 ties last year. Remember, there was a tie for Best Actress, which I hated.
Really?
Last year or 2 years ago?
TV face on.
Yeah, it's a lot of there have been ties. If there is one, they've been prone to happen in big categories. I don't think it'll be ensemble.
All right. Well,
I think it'll be something foolish like Best Supporting Actress. Don't be shocked if it's the girl from Borat and Glenn Close.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I know, right?
All right. Wow. So on Best Original Screenplay, we have Minari, Promising Young Woman, Mank, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
It's going to be Promising Young Woman. I think if this will be one of those things where I feel like if she doesn't win in these other categories, because if she's nominated for director, she's not going to take director. This will be the carrot stick.
Well, it's going to be. Oh, I didn't do the director category. Maybe I skipped over it for some reason.
But I don't know if she can beat Aaron Sorkin's. He's got name recognition. Like balloting and voting is like it's easy you can find his name really easy, and you're like, okay. I don't know. I thought Promising Young Woman is a much better screenplay, but I don't know if she's going to beat Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah. I'm leaning toward Aaron Sorkin.
Category every time he's in it, he does. They do.
It's the Critics' Choice.
And I think the director will be Chloe. You know what I mean? I think this is, I think on a technical point, right? Since I believe that's part of the skill set you need.
Yeah, let's talk about Best Director.
Yeah, I don't have all the nominees in front of me. Who are our nominees for that?
I don't know, but I'm struggling with Best. I am really struggling with Nomadland. Man, I've tried with that movie 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work for you, but I'm telling you.
Well, I know. In terms of voting,
in terms of technicality, which is what we are, in my opinion, is part of a director's skills.
Oh no, 100%.
Skills are way above, and Chloe has given us. And also, you have previous work to see the consistency and the quality. Do you know what I mean?
Her previous work was better.
and that type of thing. I mean, and also she edited the film, so it's all these little things. I do think this is Chloe's year. We're going to have another woman finally come across the threshold.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
But
they were gonna find a woman regardless. If it's not Chloe, it would have been the director of Promising Young Woman. It was going to. I mean, but I hate falling into this thing where it's like this year is a year for. I mean, I don't know. It just gets messy.
A year. We shouldn't even have these conversations. It should just be who he did the best job. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. Do you know what I mean?
So for best director, and I had to look it up. Well, obviously we got Lee Isaac Chung. We have Emerald Fennell. We have David Fincher, Spike Lee, Regina King, Aaron Sorkin, and Chloe Zhao.
It's criminal that Spike doesn't have a best director award, but I think this picture lost steam a little bit. But this is Chloe's year.
Well, hell, if you adjusted the calendar, the movie would have came out in January. That movie came out long. I mean, you can't do a campaign for 12 months.
Yeah,
I mean, my God. Like, I don't know. The fact that it's still in the conversation is a minor miracle. So
I think Chloe might win. I think this is the one that's close again. Is that it's Aaron and a Chloe, because Aaron and them they've been doing their campaigning.
Man, they've been putting in work.
They've been putting in their work to do that. And then just one last segment is the best adapted screenplay. I think this is interesting, obviously, because you have the original screenplay, adapted screenplay, and director. Is that they try to play with? I think awards play with those. Be like, okay, if I don't give it to this person for director, then I'll give it to this person for this.
Right.
So I think they play with that. We have News of the World. We have One Night in Miami, First Cow, which I did not see. Of all the movies, I saw all the movies except First Cow, and I have it.
It's a good movie.
We got stuff at the beginning of the season. We didn't get the interviews and especially now that we're at home, we didn't get that piece of it. I mean, I hate to sound like this because it sounds like we're running for office. But that's a vital piece because the field is so crowded this year that if you're not in people's face, you're letting them know, hey, we still out here, we still got our film, then this is what happens. You going, oh snap, I didn't catch that. I do think that Kemp should win. I think he will win.
I think he should win, and I'm hoping that he will win.
Remember, we're talking about Critics' Choice. Do not count out News of the World. You gotta remember, I know a lot of the people who are voting. Do not count out News of the World.
That's a really good point. But we also have Ruben Santiago Hudson in there for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. This will be an interesting one to see what critics do with that. Hey, we're getting up on our time, so I want to at least get to our next segment, which is industry topics. I'm gonna go through 2 topics, and then we'll get to our last subject and get out of here. So, can Hollywood have an impact on this crazy violence against Asians? We talked about 2 Asian movies today. But can Hollywood have an impact on that, guys? Do you think that there's something that Hollywood can play?
I mean,
images are powerful, but I mean, they would have to really get going and be extremely positive and efficient, because this narrative that's been created by some of our politicians is dangerous and scary.
I would say this is the problem. In the history of television, we've had 2 shows created centering around, 3 shows centered around Asians on television. Look how long we've had television. 3 shows. 2 of them were canceled. The longest running one just left us fresh off the boat. That other show, Kim's Convenience, is a Canadian show. Nothing wrong with that. I just said this on Twitter. I said a lot of us get our information from television. We have a lot of people who don't live around people that are diverse. If you don't create shows centering people in everyday lives that are of a different culture or a different race, a different religion, then that's the way a lot of people see people. You know what I mean? Why do you think PBS works so well? And I think you need that. You need to continue. You can't just say, well, we had one for 6 years and now we're good. You need to continuously bring these shows. So those folks that don't live around people that are different, that are getting these crazy messages, see, wait a minute, he has the same type of conversations with his children that I do. They have the same angst that we do. They look at their house. I got my TV stand like that. All these little things make a difference. Like, you know, I would say I wasn't born in this country. A lot of my perception of America and why we all thought America is what it is because of television. So we need to be better at developing shows that show these diverse folks. Now, having said that, we also need to allow Asians to play different types of roles. Stop being the nerdy guy, the best friend. We don't see enough romantic leads. We don't see them being able to have faults, to be scared, to not want to do the things that we all claim that they want to do. And the more you develop these characters and open up that box, the better the dialogue will get. At least that's what I think, in my opinion.
Excellent. I think you're both. I agree with both of you guys. I think Hollywood can play a role there. The last topic that I want to touch base on is that we're opening up states and the theaters are hurting. Do you guys think that this will really help start to help the theaters, or do we still need to wait till the summer? So then the theaters might have some kind of rebound. I don't. I don't. I think that people are really getting set in their ways in terms of watching a lot of movies, that they'll go maybe for a special movie. But I don't think that this is even the summer. If everybody's even vaccinated by May, I just don't see that really helping the theaters. Thoughts?
That ship sailed. The theatrical experience is permanently damaged and in a state of flux. I was on air all morning just talking about a huge movie theater that just shut down, that was part of the Alamo Drafthouse franchise, because they just declared bankruptcy. There are numerous factors, but follow the studios and the streamers. Traditional movie studios are still pushing titles back, which is not good. And the window between theatrical and when movies can stream is increasingly shrinking, which means that whole theatrical model is done. And like you said, we're setting our way, streaming and PVOD, VOD. I mean, it's here. It's here to stay. But facts, before the pandemic, the average number of times a person would go to the movies was only 2.5 in the first place.
Katya.
I agree. The movie theater people need to come better with just, we have a blockbuster. They have to rethink that whole experience. They have to give you a reason to come out the house other than the movie, because like Sean said, even the movie theaters that are going into theaters, they are flipping over into on-demand, POV, etc., etc. That window is a lot smaller than it used to be. You used to have to wait a year. Not anymore. It's like a couple of months. So if you missed it in the theater, you're like, no worries, I'll catch it on demand. So I think they have to rethink that experience. They have to wow you. You know what I mean? It's like the airlines. You can't just give me you getting from point A to point B. You know. So I think that's important. The other thing, but Sean said numerous times, is that this is kind of like their punishment for not wanting to build up in certain areas that they deemed not to be commercial enough, and also not facilitating in areas that have a drought in theaters. You know, you don't have to build a 10 multiplex, a smaller theater, 2 theaters, 3. A lot of us grew up near theaters that weren't huge multiplexes, but that intimate relationship. I think the independent theaters are going to be the one near me is surviving. They're having other things there. The community is rallying around this. And again, it's like Sean said on numerous times on here, the corporate people ignore the little people, and now they need the little people to stay in business. So the little people are saying, we good, we chilling at the house.
They also are in a horrible position because they can't contract. They built all these 20, 25, 30 plexes, and there's no way to fill those, but you can't shrink them.
Wow. Now that's some tough stuff. All right, so we get to our last segment, which is one of my favorites. Is the best thing that we saw this week, And I saw three things that I want to say was the best thing. The first, I'm gonna start with you, Katya. I saw your interview with Spike Lee. That was one of the best things I saw this week. Great job. I really appreciate that. I shared it as much as I could. Man, you guys seem like y'all was buddies, you know. I really like that.
He has good. I've been very lucky with him. There's certain people I always tell people I have zero expectations, but I vibe off of what the person I'm speaking to gives me. And he's one of those. He opened the door. So once the interview opens the door, you walk through and you take it from there. Do you know what I mean? And I
And
also
you
know
did.
he's gonna be honest. You know, some people give you that industry answer and you're just like, oh great, I got the same answer 600 other people. Fantastic. You know what I mean? So he was very receptive to having a conversation, which helped.
Well, you said opening the door. Hey, Sean, the second thing that I saw, best thing, was your interview with Chicago 7, man. You did with Aaron Sorkin and Sacha Baron Cohen. Man, you guys, I think you and Sasha about to go out and like have a blunt together or something, man. Y'all sing. I mean, no, it was really, really good and very, very
Thank you.
engaging, and I appreciate that.
No. Thank you. Yeah, it was a good Q&A. We held it for the members of the Critics Choice Association, and it's always an honor when you get a chance to lead a discussion like that. So I appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Go ahead, Katya. You want to say something?
Too, and I'm like I said, it is hard to stay on course when you're dealing with someone like Sasha, which is not a bad thing because he's going to make it interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes you do these things and the person's like, you're like, oh, this is going to be a long 40 minutes. But he kept it fun and he was engaging and he took part in the process, which brought Aaron's energy up because Aaron is more like
Aaron's dry.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but he said it.
But you guys got stuff from Aaron, and I like the. I'm sorry, Katya.
As watching it, you know, because sometimes these things, like I said, you can be like, and then you're like, oh, let me look up. This is gonna be a good one. So definitely kudos to Sean because Sean's notes could have been like out the door.
No.
So I like both of those interviews, and the last thing for me is I watched The Voice, and John Legend has his own song that goes, "Welcome to Team Legend." One of the best things I've seen.
I saw that.
I love it. I love it. It's in my head. If I could sing, I would sing it right here because it's "Welcome to Team Legend." But I like that. All right, Sean. Best thing you saw this week, man.
Best thing I saw this week. I know I was hard on it just because it's a classic that's near and dear to my heart. But the best thing I saw this week was Coming to America. It's just for the nostalgic of it all.
Excellent. And then Katya, bring us home. Best thing you saw this week.
We hard on things we love. I'm turning into my parents.
I would say I'm going to toot our own horn. Our Africa Roundtable with Eddie and Arsenio. The energy that they gave us, and we were like one of the first ones that they spoke to, which I also like. We got to see it way early than a lot of other people, and we were very good. We kept our mouths closed, and that energy, that vibration, and I also have to think back because for Eddie, he's been in this business so long. This is very odd to see that many Black faces talking about movies, his movies. So he really jumped into you know, the process, and I love that back you can see the genuine friendship between the two. So I really was proud of us, and I was like, look at us, we out here, we shining, we're doing good things. I got to see, I can't say the name of the film, but I got to see a movie that's coming up that a lot of people are anticipating, and I enjoyed it because it's hard when you have a lot of hype around a film. And, you know, and you sit there and you go, oh, you know, people are starting to ask you and you got to do your little, well, you know, it's interesting. This one, I think, is, again, going to change the conversation. And we haven't seen it, but I'm really excited about what Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to do with Superman in DC Comics. I think it's way overdue. The bros are just going to have to, you know, get over it. we're going to get a Black Superman. And I'm interested in his perspective. He's a really good writer and he's a good storyteller where he's taking us, and DC needs it.
Well, we're absolutely gonna get into that. I think just to end the show is that one of the best things we might see this week is the Critics Choice Awards. Sean, tell us where they can see it, how they can check it out. Talk about it, man. Let's end the show on the Critics Choice Awards.
Critics Choice Awards, Sunday, March 7th on your CW station nationwide, 7 p.m. East Coast time. No, 8 p.m. East Coast time, 7 p.m. Central time, West Coast replay.
And who's hosting that, man?
Tay Diggs.
That's good. Hey, that's our show. I'm Reggie Ponder, the Real Critic. That's Sean Edwards. That's Katia Woods. This is where African-American critics come to discuss, debate, and have some fun. We'll see you guys next time.
All right. It's been good.